In this video, I want to talk about how the home sellers really don't have option to get out of deals once the purchase agreement is signed, as well as a little bit about the wholesaler, how they get the deals, and what I think you should know as a home seller when you're dealing with a wholesaler, as well as the home selling process. Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is Shawn, the Realtor guy from Portland, Oregon. So I saw this post this morning. Got a deal on the MLS. Seller signed a few days ago, and I put down the earnest money deposits same day and started title. Last night, Realtor called me, and a seller is getting cold feet and doesn't want to commit to selling anymore, but may just keep it on MLS to see what comes in. They asked me to sign a mutual release. I'm obviously not signing. Couldn't believe it when she was telling me, LOL. So this is a post from a wholesaler on X, and a couple things that I noted is that I actually asked him if he. I mean, what I said was if they use like a standard contract, probably the seller wouldn't be able to get out of the deal. But who knows what kind of contract that this wholesaler used. And he basically replied saying that it was on MLS, so he used a standard contract. In Oregon case, I mean, the real estate contract is all across the board. It could be very different, right? So in Oregon's case, if he used a standard contract, there's no really good way for a seller to get out of the deal unless the buyer and seller both agree that they don't want to do the deal. Then yes, I mean obviously mutually you can cancel the deal. But if a buyer wants to pursue, there's no way really for the sellers to get out. That's the first thing. Now, the little bit more concerning part here is that because I understand how the wholesalers operate. Now, the wholesaler is where it's kind of like think of it as a middleman. Middleman basically contacts the seller and get a deal and find another investor to buy that deal. And then the wholesaler gets the sort of like introduction fee. And in order for wholesaler to find an investor who can make profit off of this property, that means the wholesaler has to get the deal at really low price. A lot of times I see these deals where the sellers may be in a situation that the home needs a lot of repairs, and the wholesalers typically make anywhere between, as far as I know, 60 to 70% of the real market value. In return, so basically they promise cash offer, quick close, as is. You don't have to do any repairs. And if the seller needs that money or they feel like that would be a good deal because they have to deal with the repairs and everything. So that's how the wholesalers typically get the deals and then find the cash buyer, and then they get paid 10, 20, whatever $1,000 that they get. So based on this, my assumption is this. I mean, I don't know anything about this guy or this deal, but what I want you to know as a consumer is this. So this listing was sitting on the market for a while, I suppose, because my guess is that if it's a brand new listing, the seller or listing agent wouldn't actually agree to a wholesaler deal, typically like 70% lower minimum. So it's been sitting on the market, and maybe it needs a lot of work, and they're not getting any actions. So when they got this offer from the wholesaler, they thought it was a good deal, maybe a decent deal, based on this post. And then the next day, a couple days later, the seller thought, oh, maybe I gave too. I mean, I agreed to too low of a price. Maybe we can get a better deal than this really low price. Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of times I see this without like listed on MLS or without listing agent. What I mean by that is these wholesalers contact the home sellers directly. They send a letter, they call, they door knock. And so there's no real estate realtor getting involved in many of these deals because that's how they can get lower price deals. But in this case, I mean, the house must be in bad condition, or maybe seller's really motivated to sell. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations. It just makes me wonder why they would take wholesalers deal being on MLS, having a realtor on their side. My advice to somebody like this seller, if I represent this seller, I would probably say, hey, unless we take, I mean, instead of like taking 70 cents on the dollar kind of deal, why don't we just drop the price 10%? So if it's listed at 500,000 and we don't get any action and you have to sell in the next month, within a month, because you have to go somewhere, I would just say, hey, let's just drop 10%, which then drops to 450,000. That price is going to be way better than wholesalers, let's say 70% deal. 30% will be $150,000 less. So my guess is that they probably made it like a $350,000 kind of offer. And, I mean, I've seen a lot of homes with a lot of repairs and everything, but I can't imagine that big of gap kind of repairs are needed on a home. And so, yeah, I mean, that's what I would advise, but I don't know anything about this situation. But when I see something like this, I'm like, gosh, what kind of deal did this guy get? Yeah, I don't know. So it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, it makes me wonder. Maybe he will, post, but, I'll have to kind of see what happens here. But kind of to sum up this video, I want you to know as a home seller, when you're dealing with the wholesalers or, when you get offers like that, what I recommend is just talk to like a realtor in your town and just say, hey, look, I got this offer. It's a really lowball offer, but I may have to sell it because my house is in bad condition. This seems like a good deal. I can just cash out within 2 weeks. But just ask the realtor, say, if we put this on the market and if I want to get like the offers within 2 weeks, what do we need to price it at? And there's going to be that price. I mean, if it's lower than 15% of the fair market value, I mean, it's going to fly off the shelf. I mean, a lot of times. I can't, guarantee anything, but that would be the first thing that you need to do before accepting an offer like this. And then the other point is that a lot of times the standard contract is based on very like a buyer-centric language, which means the buyers can get out of the deal during the inspection contingency, appraisal contingency, the property disclosure contingency, all of those times. If they use all of those functions, they can get out. And the worst case is like they could lose the earnest money and they can still get out of the deals. That happened to me once because the buyers had to move back to their hometown after we went through the contingency. That was like, there was not much I can do. But other than that, a buyer could lose that, let's say 1% typically here in Oregon, earnest money. They could lose that money and then they can get out of the deal. But for the sellers, they don't have that option. If the seller try to get out of the deal and like say we're not gonna sell it, the buyers could do what they call the specific performance, meaning going through the law, the legal channel to force the seller to sell the property, and the seller may have to pay the legal cost too. And I never got there. Well, I actually did get there one time. Oh my goodness. It was a commercial deal. Oh gosh. That's a whole other video. basically the seller in the like ninth inning, they didn't want to sell, so I had to cut ties with the sellers because I just couldn't. Yeah, but anyways, going back to that. So yeah, typical contract, it doesn't allow sellers to cancel the deals. So before you sign something like this, like a lowball offers from like wholesalers, be really sure because it may not be possible to get out of the deals. But anyways, that's the video for today. If you have any questions about Portland, Oregon, situations like this, feel free to give me a call. I would be happy to give you my, like 20-minute sort of like a home valuation. I'll give you the price range that you can sell for, no matter what how bad the condition is, how many. If you tell me I need to sell this house within a week, I'll give you that price, and there's a very high chance that my price will be way better than the wholesaler price. So give me a call, 503-515-4499. I was kind of rambling here and there, but I appreciate you watching the video. Hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.